back in the days when I was in the high school, I used to spend hours and days going through my notes in preparing for an exam. And at the end of the day, I still could not make a good grade. Then I'll blame my failure for the teacher and the course. The purpose of this presentation is to inform you on how to study effectively. According to psychologist Colonel Nate, while last-minute preparation will enable you to pass a test, you won't be able to remember the materials for long. And as the cost of material piles up, you may let yourself fall behind, hoping that you might use two days in cramming right before the exam. In this presentation, I will give you 3 basic steps that will ensure effective study. Now, let's begin with the first step. The first step towards effective study is to create a favorable condition for study. You organize your study times weekly by making a weekly schedule. Also break up your study times as much as possible and locate an area that you can study, where you can really concentrate, because loud music and TV will reduce concentration. And now, with this point in mind, the second step towards effective study is to generate a positive attitude towards study. You ask yourself questions to be an effective learner and try to make the subject as interesting as possible. Also try to make some meaning in the subject you are studying. For example, if you are studying anatomy and physiology, ask a question like, what is anatomy, what is physiology? And then you start trying to relate this anatomy and physiology to yourself. Then you get the meaning of anatomy and physiology. Also try to reward yourself after each segment of study. You can walk around, eat some food, listen to some music before continuing your studies again. With these 2 points in mind, the third step towards effective study is to develop a study technique, a good study technique. Now, use the SQR3 method in studying the non-mathematical texts like history, English, geography, or speech. And then use the PRESP method, the PRESS method, in studying maths and science subjects. Also, to increase remembering, use repetition as you study. Try to memorize your stuff that you study. Repeat it as much as possible. Also, try to review your summary sheets weekly. And to increase your memorization again, use flashcards and review more often. In conclusion, 3 basic steps will lead to an effective study. And the 3 basic steps to consider are: create a favorable condition for study, generate a positive attitude towards study, and to develop a good study technique. Any question?
Yes, I have a question. I would like to
Yeah, go ahead. Any question?
Okay. I would like to know what will you consider a recommended time interval for study before any break?
I'll recommend an hour. Like, take a 5-minute break every hour of study. After every hour of study.
Okay.
Any other question?
Thank you.
Any question?
Oh yes. In your presentation, you mentioned that one of the methods to study is SQR3.
Yeah, the SQR3 method.
What does SQR3 mean?
SQR3 means survey, questioning, read, and recite. That before you study, you first survey the materials you are going to study. You ask some questions, and then you read, you recite, and you review the material.
Thank you.
Thank you.